5 things that you need to check on your DR650 to make it completely bomb-proof. Number 1 is the NSU screws. Suzuki did address this issue in 2017, so if you have a 2018 or later, you don't have to worry about this. But if you have a 2017 or earlier, you definitely need to get in there and you need to make sure that yours are Loctited or safety wired or both. Both is probably overkill, but it doesn't matter as long as something is done there. Number 2, this is less likely to leave you stranded or just destroy your engine and more likely to be annoying, but something that should definitely be addressed, and that is to delete the kickstand safety sensor. We don't need a sensor that is exposed to mud on a bike that is designed to go into mud, to get clogged with mud, and therefore not function correctly. So just cut that thing off, get rid of it, and while you're at it, also get rid of the clutch safety sensor, because screw sensors. There's a theme here if you're catching on. The next thing that we're going to want to do is get rid of our crankshaft position sensor, and we're going to switch our bike over to points. That's a joke. I hope you guessed that's a joke. Because the CDI box and the overall ignition system of the Suzuki DR650 comes from the factory pretty much bomb-proof. There's only one actual semi-weak point, and it only exists in fairly high mileage bikes or older bikes, and it's a rare point of failure. So don't just dig into it and change it. Maybe change it when you're taking out your clutch or something like that, or if you got 40 or 50,000 miles on the bike, or if you're using an older bike. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's the pulse generator coil. Some of the OEM ones have been known to fail, and there are no known failures of the high quality aftermarket parts. So rider's choice here, you can switch it out if you got a higher mileage bike and then keep the OEM one as a spare, because this is a light enough part that you could actually fix on the road and you can add it to your toolkit. The next thing, and this is another small weak point, for some reason Suzuki put a plastic gear to drive the oil pump, and guess what? The plastic gear occasionally does break. Now, this seems to only happen on higher mileage bikes, and it happens to sit right behind the clutch. So maybe when you burn out your clutch, switch out that plastic gear, and you'll be good to go, theoretically, unless you happen to get a bad plastic gear from the factory, in which case you were switching out a good plastic gear with a bad plastic gear, and you just created a problem that wouldn't have existed in the first place. So you do what you want to do there, but I don't think anybody currently offers a metal gear replacement for that problem. But that is a problem that does exist on this particular bike. All right, so we've gotten rid of the pump idle gear. We fixed our NSU screws. We have replaced our pulse generator coil, and we've gotten rid of the kickstand safety sensor. And the clutch doesn't count. We still need 5 things on this. And guess what? There's not really another major thing that's going to go bad on this bike. So I'm going to have to get a little bit creative. And I'm going to tell you to remove the upper chain roller on there unless you want a big chunk of your frame taken out when you decide to come down just a little bit too hard, especially with the stock suspension. It just tends to rip a big chunk of the frame, and you don't need it, so just take that thing off and your bike will be good to go. The only other thing that I think you actually need to check on this bike, because that only counts as a half of one, and this one also is only going to count as a half of one, you need to check for needle wear whenever you're taking your carb apart, which is something that you kind of do anyway and just falls under basic maintenance. But the CV carb on this tends to have a little bit of needle wear, and sometimes it can get so excessive that the needle falls into the carb and completely disables the machine. But that's also extremely rare and will never happen if you just take your carb apart every once in a while and clean it. Other than that, the bike comes from the factory bomb-proof, so all you have to do is follow some sort of basic maintenance, and this thing will run longer than you will. Y'all have a great day. Till next time.